Now today we're diving into something that got the internet buzzing. And it all started with a conversation, not between Nas and Jim Jones, but from none other than Nory himself. Now let's keep it 100. Anytime you mention Nas and Jim Jones in the same sentence, you're bound to stir up some reactions. But this time, it wasn't about beef. It was about impact, relevance, and the numbers behind the names. And Nory didn't hold back at all. Jim Jones recently made some comments that had folks scratching their heads. Basically, he suggested that Nas may not be as relevant in today's game as people think, at least algorithm-wise. And you know how the internet works. People jumped in fast, either defending Nas or riding with Jim Jones. But then, Nory, somebody who's been around both of these guys in this culture for decades, stepped in and gave his take. He says he sees where Jim Jones is coming from. And you know what? That's important because Nory wasn't throwing shade. He was acknowledging that in today's algorithm-driven industry, somebody like Jim Jones might be looking at things through a different lens. Social media reach, playlist placements, trending hashtags, that's a whole new battlefield. And from that view, Jim Jones may feel like his presence is more visible right now than somebody like Nas who isn't doing TikTok dances or constantly going viral. But here's the thing, and Nory made this clear, you can't touch Nas's legendary status, period. We're talking about Illmatic, an album that literally birthed generations of lyricists. From Mobb Deep to Capone and Noriega. Yeah, Nory himself is a product of that Illmatic era. That's how deep Nas's roots go. That's not algorithm hype. That's real cultural foundation. Nory even said it straight up. Illmatic has influenced more artists than people even realize. And the legacy of that project alone cannot be erased. Not by algorithms, not by streaming stats, and definitely not by temporary trends. But let's not stop there. Nory didn't just speak from emotion. He brought receipts, real numbers. First off, Spotify. In 2025, Nas is pulling in around 9.1 million monthly listeners. That's right, 9.1 million. And Jim Jones, he's only pulling in around 875,000. No hate, that's still solid numbers, but the gap is massive. Then you look at the Google searches. Nas is getting somewhere between 200,000 to 300,000 searches a month globally. Jim Jones, on the other hand, between 40,000 and 70,000. Again, this isn't about dissing Jim Jones. It's all about the facts. And the fact is, Nas still dominates when it comes to interest, curiosity, and legacy impact. And that's what makes Nory's take so powerful. He's not saying Jim Jones is wrong to feel confident. In fact, he respects that Jim Jones is in his bag right now, putting out music, staying active, and making noise. But that's today's presence. Nas, on the other hand, is about permanent presence. His name is etched in the concrete of this culture. What makes this conversation even more interesting is how it reflects something bigger. The tension between what's hot now versus what lasts forever. Jim Jones is undeniably a hustler, a grinder, somebody who stayed in the game and found ways to stay relevant over the years. He's earned his respect. But Nas is legacy. Nas is Mount Rushmore. Nas is the reason half of these guys even picked up the microphone to begin with. And what Nory highlighted beautifully was how both truths can exist at the same time. Jim Jones can feel like he's more visible right now, and maybe in certain circles, that's true. But Nas is the reason those circles exist in the first place. The foundation can't be ignored. So why are we even having this debate at all? Well, ironically, Nory said it best. The fact that we're even talking about this is a W for Jim Jones. Let that one sink in. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Do you agree with Nory? Is Nas still the benchmark? Or is Jim Jones making a real case right now? Y'all already know what I think. Jim Jones is not even close to Nas, and that's no disrespect to Jim Jones at all. I think Jim Jones is dope, but that's a whole other level. But that's just my thoughts. Y'all leave your thoughts in comments down below, and make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.